Hi everybody, this is Noggin. Welcome to the first 10 minutes, where I analyze a game that I played. I analyze the beginning, the first 10 minutes of the game, see where there are some opportunities, where there are some mistakes, and just kind of working to improve my gameplay. So this first 10 minutes is about how do you break the will of the jungler. Now, we would love to say it would be the enemy jungler, but in this case it was our jungler. So let's get into it. So let's get into it. So I'm Thresh. I'm playing support. I was boldly the last person in the pick order, so I didn't get to play anything else, so I'm support. But I do kind of like support, and it's been a while since I played Thresh. But I'm a little rusty. But we're going to see that some interesting things happen here early in the game. So I'm kind of just sitting here waiting, and Evelyn, our jungler, is going to go pick up the blue buff, and she's looking for a little help. And then some action starts going down here. You can see that Caitlyn's already been hit. Ezreal, the enemy Ezreal, is kind of poking him out and just kind of prodding and seeing what he can make of things. And I had a previous first 10 minutes where I was like the disaster of trying to harass the blue buff while it's being leashed. And we'll see how this pans out for Ezreal. So Ezreal is poking. He hits me with a skill shot. He's hanging out. And so we see him, and it's like, hey, this is a neat opportunity. He's overextended, just the way we were overextended before. We don't have our mid with us. But I did get a really cool hook, which I'm pretty proud of. And we have a little bit of a fight here. Let's follow the fight. And Soraka is obviously going to flash, but we chase her, and she flashes. All right, so Soraka, no flash. This is actually pretty good for us, if you think about it just very, very simply. Because we basically have a situation, Ezreal's still poking around. We have a situation where Soraka has no flash, so he's set up for an early gank. Evelyn is actually getting kind of beat on a little bit. And, oh, wait, what just... Oh my god, and then Ezreal takes the blue buff and kills Evelyn. And let's kind of back that up a little, and we'll watch it without the fog of war to see the epic play that Ezreal does. Actually, let's do it there. Back it up. No. Yes, right. So this is a really unusual play. So I actually think that Ezreal and Soraka are a dual Q because that's a pretty epic play. So he's basically really done some neat stuff because now Ezreal has a blue buff, which allows him, along with Soraka's mana regeneration, to basically fight forever. But more importantly, he crushed the will of our jungler. Our jungler right now was like, why even try? I don't even want to do it. We should just quit right now. And it actually affected our jungler through pretty much the whole game. Our jungler didn't actually come together until about minute 20, and by then the game was really, really far gone. So good props to Ezreal. Ezreal and Soraka, like they did a good play. And the Ezreal, as this game goes on, the Ezreal is not really super stellar, believe it or not. I think that he and Soraka played really well this game. But they didn't actually so dominate that I would say that they were like somehow gold players or something that were like slumming it. I think that there are definitely players who are kind of on the climb up. They're high bronze during this game, and I think that they're definitely on the way higher. But, he didn't really out-farm Caitlyn by a lot. And you'll see here, as we kind of get going a little bit, I'll speed it up just a hair. But you'll actually see here, he does get overextended, and some bad stuff happens to him. Here it comes, very soon. He's so aggressive. He wants to pick on Caitlyn. Soraka is really good with her silences. Right here. So he's like getting into a fight, but he actually does not win it. We actually beat him down pretty bad. And Soraka had to run. So right now, we have the blue buff now, but also everything that Ezreal had done up to this point, we've actually reversed. Like if we look at the gold, we'll find that Caitlyn is now just barely behind Ezreal, and she's basically farming up. So she basically catches up with Ezreal. So we've evened the playing field. In fact, even though Ezreal did end up pushing us around a lot in the lane, and I would say that at a very subtle level, he outplayed us. Really, the game was mostly lost because the mid lost pretty hard, and Yasuo started roaming and just racking up kills, and he was pretty scary by the time he came around. And so let's speed it up a little bit. We'll see that we do go back to buy, which is a good call, because until we spend the money, Ezreal will basically have outspended us. And so we actually come back. Our Caitlyn, after she buys, she actually is better equipped than Ezreal. Ezreal basically has 2 Doran's Blades looking for early scraps. She has 3 Doran's Blades. So there, Ezreal. Maybe you got the first kill, but hey, we have more Doran's Blades. And when we get down here, we'll find that I make a mistake of thinking that I can take Ezreal's poke a little bit more than I really can. Right here. I'm like, I'm going to come up and flay him and do a little damage, and he basically really pounds me. So, flashes away. Such a slippery guy. So after this, I was like, okay, bad idea. And in fact, I think Caitlyn said, hey, we need to not trade with them. Although she could probably trade fine, I couldn't trade. So that wasn't so good. But still, we were feeling under pressure from Ezreal, and we decided, or thankfully our jungler, trying to get the psychology back in order, did come down for a gank, which we'll see here in a moment. And that will be kind of the main focus of the analysis of this game, of whether or not it was a good gank or not, or what was could it have succeeded. So Eve's going to come down through the lane, which is a nice way to gank as Eve because she's invisible, and so people can't see her. Speed it up a little bit. All right, so Eve's sneaking in, and we are about to gank. So let's look at the math. All right, so here we have the wonderful math of this. It's a little bit more elaborate than last week. And basically, these are what are the things that we could possibly get off in this gank. How much damage could we possibly do? Now, Ezreal actually has about 40 armor, but when he gets healed by Soraka, he's going to have 106 armor, which is really, really epic. In addition to that, he will give him 120 hit points. So I'm calculating this as if he has that heal the whole time. Now, he didn't have it the whole time. So with that heal is 106 armor, 35 magic resist, and he has about 870 hit points, and then Soraka will give him a little bit more. Now, what attacks do we have? Well, the very first auto attack I do is going to be boosted by my flay. So it does some physical, some magic damage. Then I'm calculating I can get in 2 auto attacks, and then a flay. You'll see that I didn't even get the flay. I got silenced by Soraka, but let's imagine that I actually could get in the flay. So I'm thinking I can get 3 auto attacks in on Ezreal. Evelynn, she's melee, and Ezreal is able to flash away with his arcane shift. So basically, let's say she can get in 2 auto attacks. This is how much they do. So you can get in 1 short range ravage, and then she can hit a bunch of hate spikes. Now hate spikes, they have a very short cooldown, and you basically just punch it over and over again. And they're like homing missiles on the nearest target at a very short range. So she just gets up in the face and just hits them. And obviously she does more damage than me because I'm the support. She's the DPS jungler. And then Caitlyn, range is like whether she can get in 2 auto attacks because Ezreal can flash away, or he can shift away, arcane shift away. But she hits really hard. She's got the 3 Doran rings. If she hits him with the Piltover Peacemaker, again, hits really hard. And then if she can get a 90 caliber net, it does a little bit more damage. Now, so here is where it all kind of comes together, is that with his huge armor, interestingly enough, is if we actually hit all of these, we wouldn't even kill him before Soraka's heal. Now, we would probably push him out of lane. Like he would, Soraka would heal him, and he would probably be at 200 health, and he might stick around. I mean, he does have 2 Doran's Blades. I think he has a health pot. But we might be able to push him out of lane with that. If Soraka did not do a heal on him, we'd actually do enough damage to hit him, if we hit with everything. But we'll see what happens here. So let's go back and watch the fight unfold. All right, so Evelyn is coming into the brush. I'll do a little half speed here so we can actually see the different auto attacks and things. So Evelyn's coming up. I see Evelyn moving up, and I'm like, okay, okay, okay. She moves, and I move in. And then what does Caitlyn do? Caitlyn hangs around farming. She's not even in the fight. She's walking away. She's outside of her auto attack range when the fight begins. Evelyn does get 2 hate spikes, but the third hate spike hits the nearest target, which is Soraka. The fourth one does hit Ezreal. I didn't get my flay. I was silenced, and I missed some of my auto attacks. But Caitlyn didn't hit anything, so we totally whiffed that. We whiffed that gank. Now Evelyn probably could have stayed around for another gank. It wouldn't. I mean, mid needed a lot of help, but it may not have been a bad idea because she could easily stay around, and Ezreal could have pushed it up. But Caitlyn, and it was one of the troubles that we had during this game, I think, was that Caitlyn didn't really know how to do any sort of exchanges with Ezreal. Like, props to her to basically be working on her farming, because farming is very important. But she, and I know personally that it's hard as a newer player to basically try to farm and to try to kill and harass. But it's like there were basically a lot of how we lost the lane was that Ezreal was really good at getting a little bit of poke between his farm. And he wasn't that great. He wasn't really that much better of a farmer, so it was very close. He just got a little bit of poke, and it made a big difference. And then that was the main analysis of the game. We'll kind of move along here. See the rest of the first 10 minutes. Speed it up. It's mostly farming back and forth, and we're not doing terrible. I mean, even right now, like Caitlyn's not very far behind Ezreal, either on money or on. There's some mid action goes on, but again, the mid was just being owned, so we basically had to retreat from that. Not really worth watching. Just Yasuo and Shyvana hurting a lot of people. And we have we have actually a pretty good little gank here in a moment, or a good hook that I try to take advantage of. But I was having like a terrible time remembering my ignites, which is kind of embarrassing. It's coming up here actually near the very end of the 10 minutes. So as you can see, Ezreal is starting to pull ahead. The poke is starting to hurt. I get the hook on Soraka. I do not ignite her because I ignited her like a few seconds later. Like I get another hook and I ignite her. I'm like, so there, that was the ignite I was trying to get, but it didn't matter. Again, all in all, I mean, we lost the game pretty hard in the mid. But Evelyn was really crushed. It was nice that she actually came by the gank, but she was having a terrible game, and it was props to Ezreal and Soraka for giving her that awful game. So anyway, that was the first 10 minutes. I hope that you found some of the analysis educational and insightful. And if you like it, then please like it. And if you really like it, then please subscribe for future videos. And I will catch you later. See you on the Rift.